What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Cass here, and we are here for our second episode of This Week in CAW, and this week we are going to be diving in to RHW's Battle of the Rising Sun. I hope you guys are excited for it, so let's get right into the matches. Alright guys, so with Battle of the Rising Sun, RHW is a brand I've seen a couple of things from, and I thought would be kind of interesting, with UKW having their own Tokyo-based show coming up very soon to watch Battle of the Rising Sun. So I decided to do that, and I have some mixed feelings, and I'll get into that. There's some definitely things good that were done good on the show, and there were some definitely things that I could see done differently, may have improved, but then again, that's only my personal opinion. I want to make that clear before we get into the matches. Everything said here is my personal opinion. That does not mean they would be yours. The link for the channel is going to be in the description. I encourage to go watch the video, make and form your own opinions. Everybody's opinions is different within CAW and within really any opinion. Just because I have an opinion doesn't mean that's going to be the same as everybody else's. So go check out the content and see if you agree or disagree with what my opinions are on some of these matches. So we're going to start off with the Wildcard Division Championship match between Davis and Bobby Legend. So I thought this match had really good opening grappling. That was the real thing that caught my eye. And the way it transitioned as well into the striking is... But one common theme that you'll see really in the match card, kind of a problem I had, is I felt like that we kind of got blood very early in this match, which I kind of see a trend in with RHW. I've watched a little bit of their stuff previously, but I don't think I've watched enough to notice if this is a trend or not. If anybody is big in RHW and watches a lot, if you could please let me know in the comments, is this a big trend? Is this something y'all go for? Is to try to get like the more bloodier stuff early? If so, then some of my critiques on some of the later matches might make overall make a little bit more sense to me if that is kind of like the idea y'all are going for. I personally really enjoyed though the targeting of the back by Bobby Legend. I really thought that was really cool, the way he would use the multiple different submission holds to kind of target the back, even doing the outside. I think he did like an outside move on the ramp. And even though there was a spot where Davis had Bobby Legend up and was about to do a big move on him, and then the back gave out, which is kind of like a reward for the viewer for like watching Bobby target that. He kind of gets the reward with that coming back, and that ended up costing Davis the match. But a solid match overall. Would have loved to see a little bit more from Davis, kind of like an over, like just powering through a sure like rise of will type thing. But I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna give that a 3 out of 5. Nothing negative to say. Nothing negative to say at all. Just, I felt like there were a few things that I could see could have been improved. But also, like I said, that's just my opinion. Like, I would have loved to see Davis get another, like, hope spot in. That would have been pretty cool. And now we're going on to our next match. One of the main reasons I ended up choosing RHW's Battle of the Rising Sun was Barrett's match against Veronica Sabin. And I had seen this, I think RHW had posted it on Twitter, and I had seen a really good response, and I wanted to go see the match. So I absolutely love the presentation, and that's one thing RHW really does get right, and that's really a good thing to the creators, and I'll give them out. Barrett and Sabin both looked really good in their entrance and their presentation, as well as I feel like these movesets with a lot of these characters that are going to be in matches tonight kind of flow really well. Barrett and Sabin are kind of the first two I see do that. And we'll get into later where there's some more that do it. And and another thing I'll say, the attires look absolutely awesome. I love Barrett's attire, and Sabin's attire was really good as well. And I absolutely loved the finish of this match. So, as of right now, this match holds our highest ranking on RHW's Battle of the Rising Sun. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. I'm not going to spoil the ending of this specific match, but I do believe that if you guys love the CAW stuff, and this is a match to seek out. This is a good one. There's a couple of more matches to seek out on here, but this is the first one. That's a really good contest. Then we get into Hinata's Triple Crown Championship title defense, where everybody loves a good open challenge, and I think an open challenge really brings anything to a match. And then we get the video package from Christian Morgan. Was just an overall sick way to start. We get the Hinata entrance, and then the promo package from Christian Morgan, and the offense from Hinata was really, really good. And I brought this up in my notes that this was the third match where I see it's very similar to the Bobby Legend match, where there was blood really early. And like I said, if that's something that y'all are going for, I like, as a newer viewer to RHW, I wouldn't notice that. So I guess, like I said, just leave in the comments if that is something that RHW does go for, or if that's more of a thing that just when booking the matches, it's kind of an oversight. But anyway, the counter. One thing that I liked a lot about this match, the counter to the ring, to the out of the ring superplex into the moonsault slam was really unique, really sick. Overall, heads up to whoever came up with that. But overall, good back and forth match, perfectly placed on the card. Love a good open challenge. I'm gonna give this a 3.5 out of 5. Now we're gonna go on. We're gonna give Grimm and Nick Stevens, and this match, my first watch through, I really liked it. And then as the show goes on, Grimm's involved in a lot more stuff. He makes 2 other appearances on the show. This match should not have, in my opinion, should not have had the level of brutality that it did if Grimm is going to make 2 separate appearances later in the night, because it kind of undershoots the damage that was done to him. Anyway, one of the things that I can say is that I really like the back and forth that RHW goes for in these matches. And the powerbomb spot with Grimm, where he tried to fight out multiple times the multiple power bombs and he couldn't, and then it gets transitioned, and it's just overall a really, really good spot there with the multiple power bombs. Him trying to break out, can't do it. Multiple power bombs again. I love that. The targeting of the cut is good ring psychology by Stevens, and just overall good gameplay of whoever was, when they were getting the clip, whoever was controlling Stevens and the way the match was booked out. The Dragon Sleeper spot was really sick as well. Overall, this was at one point going to be a 4 out of 5, but after watching it back and seeing Grimm's involvement later on in the show, I feel like it kind of underwhelms it a bit. So I'm going to knock it down half a star, and I'm going to give it 3.5 out of 5. And now leading into what was probably one of my least favorite matches of the night with Freddy and Giana. It's just the character and the overall style of Freddy doesn't fit me as a viewer, and that's perfectly fine. I was a much more fan of Giana. The way her presentation, I loved the false finish later in the match where Freddy has the match won against Giana, and the ref comes running down. That was a really sick spot. But me personally, I would have loved to see Giana win, because it's just, I'm not the biggest fan of the comedy gimmick, the Freddy gimmick. It's just not for me as a viewer. This is going to be our lowest star rating on this episode so far, 2.5 out of 5. So now we're going to get into what I think might have been RHW's most bold and well executed choice was the Imperial Championship Battle Royal. The idea of a mystery Battle Royal is something I really haven't seen done a lot, and overall a really good idea. Not really much to talk about. It's your typical Battle Royal type thing. Some good spots in there, but at the end of the match, one thing that really confused me was a puff of smoke appeared that kind of I didn't get, and maybe that's because like maybe something previously has happened offside of this event, but if somebody in the comment section can clear up the puff of smoke, or if it's something that's going to come later on, that's fine as well. But I hope that would lead to something, because if not, it left me when I was viewing it a bit confused. But overall, really entertaining Battle Royal. I'm going to give that a 3.5 out of 5. And would really not recommend anything different. I think Battle Royals are hard to execute and make look good. I think this one did a good job of that. So that's why I think 3.5 out of 5 is a good point to give this to. Because I think the Imperial, the idea of a mystery Battle Royal, overall, really good idea. Now, what was one of my favorite matches up to this point was Jackson Drake and Ashton for the Darkhorse Championship. That overall, I thought was really fast paced, with a really good with a really good open, and probably had the best match start of the entire show so far. And it really seemed to me that the match never really slowed down. They really kept it going really the whole way. With the interferences and then the 2 count. The interference from Grimm, where we're starting to get into him making his multiple appearances on the show. And me personally, I think it being the amount of damage he took in his match previous, I don't really see that making a lot of storyline sense, or even if you are going to have him appear again, have him show some physical damage. But anyway, in my opinion, Jackson Drake and Ashton, best match so far. This one is going to get a 4 out of 5. Next we go in to Amara Beaumont, Malone, and Amber Reed's Women's Championship match, where we get the shocking show up of Amber Reed, and we get Beaumont nailing a Canadian Destroyer really early in this matchup, which I was a bit up and down about how to feel, because like there's not really a lot of like story being told there. There's nothing like, it's very early in the match, and it's not even like Malone stays down long from it either. So it's a bit, that spot could have mattered more if you put more of an investment into it. But Amber offense as normal, as our offense is in UKW, as our offense is in SWW, as our offense really is everywhere that she's ever been, is always top tier. Beaumont looked really impressive. I have talked with her previously. We were supposed to have her on UKW at one point. Was really impressive, and I thought Malone personally left a lot to be desired. I felt like she got really outshined in this match, because I think Beaumont is so impressive, like looking, and the way her moves flow together. And then Amber Reed, her offense is next level. So I think she left a little bit to be desired, but I also think a single match with her and Beaumont, or a single match with her and Reed, she would have got more of a chance to show some of what she had to offer. But overall, this was a match I really enjoyed a lot too. But we also get a lot of run-ins in this match, just like we got in the previous match, which I'm not the biggest fan of, doing a lot of run-ins, and then the next match immediately after do a lot of run-ins. At least space the matches out, put a couple of matches that didn't have the run-ins in there in between these two, kind of make them differentiate. But this match, I'm going to give a 3.5 out of 5. I think that any match with Amber and Beaumont would be really sick. like any match with Amber and Malone, or Beaumont Malone, or Malone and like any combination of those three facing each other in singles matches, they would all get a chance to shine and show. So I think RHW is doing a really good job with where they have their women's championship division going. Now we're going to get into our last man standing match between Brody Anderson and Johnny Wolf. This match, I think, used a lot of the newer stuff that 2K25 has offered us. The archive was very much used in this. I loved the edits in the archive. It's a last man standing match, so there's really not a lot you can do with it. And I think I found that last man standing matches and ambulance matches are sometimes kind of hard to tell on a large story scale. I think this match did a really good job at that. Wasn't my favorite match, and also with the amount of blood that we've seen in the show previously, knowing you had a last man standing match on the show, I felt like maybe could have toned the blood down a bit and then cranked it up in the Brody and Johnny Wolf match to really make that match stand out and be different and mean something. But it is what it is. That match gets a 3.5 out of 5. Could have been worse. Could have been better. Now we get into a match I really enjoyed. I'm kind of struck in between this match and the match earlier between Drake and Ashton about which match was the better match. But I absolutely loved Seth Raven and Meyers. We get a huge, like, I'm just a huge fan of presentation with RHW. The way the calls come out and the way the entrances are flowing, and then the chemistry between Meyers and Raven was there as well. And I've seen Meyers around, and I've seen him a lot in RHW, and every time I'm seeing, I'm more and more impressed by the way his look looks and the way his moveset flows. And Seth Raven, I was really impressed with as well. And then we also get the involvement of the Killshot Foundation with Mercer, who's in UKW. So I'd love to see Mercer there. And to me personally, after the last match with Brody and Johnny, I felt like this match was completely different and kind of reinvigorated me as a viewer, because I had watched all these simultaneously, like just straight. I watched the whole show straight, and I'd kind of hitting that wall. And then when this match started, I kind of got back into it, and I really think you can make an argument that the main event for Battle of the Rising Sun, the main event between Raven and Meyers was the best match on the card. So, guys, I'm going to put up on the screen now all of the ratings as well as the score overall, and we will see what UKW This Weekend CAW has next week. Remember, guys, if you have any CAW shows that you would like me to review on This Weekend CAW, drop them in the comments. This has been your boy Cass. We have some exciting stuff planned tomorrow when we drop the Creator Insight with JC Pentagon. I hope everybody tunes in for that. This has been your boy Cass. I'm out. Bye, guys.